Welcome back to Weekly IT Bites. This week, I'm going to tell you more about user stories and how you can use your storytelling techniques to transform your simple stories into real products. How you can use this technique to speak to the IT people in a different and unique manner. But let's start with a simple story of something that everybody will understand. As an Avenger, I need to recover the Soul Stone. Remember this, as I need to. Because after that, there is an expression, so that. The first part of the user story is that Thanos wants to recover, has collecting the stones to conquer the universe. Then the Avengers discover that action and they need to stop him. How they will do it? Well, it's part of the story. They need to recover the Soul Stone, which is the final one. But they are not going alone. And this is part of the user story. And in the final chapter, they join together to defeat him, saying, Avengers Assemble. This is a simple story of how you can introduce it, but now, let's go into a real case scenario. Now, after a quick introduction of how storytelling looks in our lives, how those story maps about getting the stories from the Avengers look, let's come back to what is important. How we can use this in our daily lives. And why should I care about this topic? Let's think in some way. There is one thing that sometimes we underappreciate, but it's really important. Money. And yes, story mapping can be used for 3 points that I believe are crucial for you. To test new ideas, to build prototypes, or how a project could look like, to develop new services and products. These are 3 ideas that comes to my mind of something that I have used in the past. But now, there is one that I learned in a book that is the most important in my belief. To change the world. Anytime that you're using a story map is for changing the world of someone. It can be me when I build an application for diabetics like my mother was. It can be you that you develop an application for reporting that there were problems in your company. It can be for your neighbors because they were playing the music so hard and your application was able to contact the police in real time. It can be for anything that comes to your mind, but you are changing the life of someone. But there is one thing more that is key to remember. There is no enough time and money to satisfy everyone. You cannot and never will happen. So keep those things in mind. But as the previous story of the Avengers, now it's time for you to be the next hero of the journey. How are you going to do it? Well, let's suppose that you already have a marketing analysis of your city and you're going to build the first application for ordering Chinese food online in your city. Yes, Chinese food. So you, my real hero, as in the Avengers, we start with a vision. As a Chinese food addict, I need an app to order food. This is the first point. Now, let's go a bit deeper into this topic. How can we go farther and give it a different usage? Now, after you define your vision, there are a set of actions that you need to perform. In the companies, they call them epics. And they are identified by a verb, I want to. But let me give you a hint. I like to call them dreams. Remember, in companies are called epics, but this simple one can help you to remember faster. They are called dreams, because everybody has a dream. So the first part of your journey as the food Chinese addict. Let's think in something. The first action that you need to do is I want to search. Of course, we need to search for the Chinese food that we want. And when you are searching, you can, what exactly? Well, let's call it by I want to search so that I can do it by name, by price, range. This is the first action. In the epics is the general idea, and the user story is that when you go in detail, that's what you use, so that I want to search, so that I can filter by name, I can filter by price, because you are searching, but now you're going into the detail. And these are the stories. Next, let's go to the next point. After you search, what you need to do? Visualize. In this action, after you visualize your product, you need to see a preview. Of the product. We're going to the very basic ones. So you see a preview of the product that, let's say, are some noodles with that small description. And you can see a gallery. And that's all. After that, you visualize, and what you need to do. The next logical action is to order. When you order, you can pay by PayPal, or let's say by cash. That's all. The next logical action that comes to my mind, because you are ordering, you need to have some details. You can use a login. It's called register. And the current trends is to use by Facebook. Most of people have a Facebook, and it's the fastest and easiest way. And second option can be by Google. And finally, what you would like to do is to track your product. You want to see what is the status, and let's define it in this set of actions. If you see something, this is like a story, and this line that we have here is your narrative flow. Why? We start doing a search by the name, let's call it noodles. You visualize a preview of some of the noodles and options that you have. You choose one and order, and you're going to pay by cash, but I would rather do it by PayPal. You need to log in through Facebook to do the payment, and that is going to be delivered. And finally, you can track your service and see what is the status of your levels, if they are already on the way or where is located. You were able to build an application, a very basic one, with all the actions. But now, what is the next step? This is called Canvas. And how we're going to choose only 4 of these actions, because you have only $1,000 to do a simple prototype that you need to show to your manager. I'm gonna give you a hint. I will give you a one more. We will give you one more, and you will have 5 to choose. And those 5 are the ones that you will use. In this moment, you can take a small stop, thinking which one you will choose, and I will show you how I will do it and how it will look in the canvas. So now, you might have some ideas of the stories that you chose to deliver. These are the ones that I chose, but to give you a short introduction. This that you can see is called the Agile Canvas. Personally, I like to work with Scrum, and we divide this process into sprints. A sprint has a time, and in this case, we need to deliver this set of actions between the 1st of September and the 18th of September of this year. What you do after you have the canvas has the first one, that are the epics, that as we know is I want to, the verbs. Then we have this backlog, that is the set of actions that you will deliver in this time. Keep in mind, there is no enough time and money to satisfy everyone. So your first preview needs to be simple. In your set of actions, the one that I chose are to search by name, to see the preview, to do a payment by PayPal. Why PayPal? Because in my experience, another alternatives can be tricky, can be hard. You need to get approvals. In some cases, you can use Google Play. There are options like Apple Play, or let's say PayU in Poland. But in other cases, it can be complicated because credit cards or debit cards are never easy to handle. Then you can log in by Facebook, which is the fastest way. Almost everyone has one. And finally, to check the status. And that's all. Those are your backlog and set of actions for this sprint. Then, in the Agile Canvas, you have to do what is doing, what is testing, and what is done. Let's take the first one. That is by name. And let's move it to the section of doing. By name. In my case, when I'm working and designing this, I assign immediately who is the person in charge. Let's say myself. I am going to be in charge of the filter by name, and it's assigned to me. In this way, you are able to track who is taking care of each project. In most of the companies, we use sticky notes. However, if you want to be green and to save some trees, there are some tools that you can use, and I recommend you. Azure DevOps. In my opinion, is the best solution I have seen. It's free, especially if there are public projects. You can use it for anything that you can imagine, and additionally, it's designed for doing this kind of things. Now, to conclude, first and foremost, the story maps are for changing the world, and in your case, you are the hero who developed the application for delivering Chinese food. You are changing the world of someone. Second, you cannot satisfy everyone because there is not enough time and money. Keep that in mind. And finally, The steps to define your set of actions. Start with a clear vision as a user. Epics, I want to, verb and action. And finally, the user stories, how are defined, so that and you go to specific actions in details that help you to do planning, to help you prioritize. I will record a further video where I'm gonna focus on prioritization. How you can prioritize your actions, how you can develop a better products in a faster and in agile way. But until then, stay tuned, and as always, be an agent of change. See you soon. Bye.